All right, next up, we have a bunch of Alliance Insight news, which Alliance Insight is the set after Supreme Darkness, which is coming out in the OCG soon-ish. I don't know exactly what the release date is in the OCG, but we have another... We'll go least exciting one first, at least for me personally. I do think it's quite cool though, but this is the new the last quarter century celebration like monster after Dragon of Pride and Soul, and I already forgot what the other one was. But yeah, the 25th anniversary is coming to an end surely at some point. So yeah, we have Dragon Master Lord, which is a dragon with 5,000 attack, 5,000 defense, rank 12 exceed monster. This exceed summon card cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effect. Also, your opponent cannot target it with card effects. If this card attacks a defense position monster while you have 25 or more cards in your grave, inflict double piercing. Once per turn, if your opponent has 25 or more cards in their graveyard, you can detach a material, special summon a monster from your deck, extra deck, or graveyard. I think it is worth noting that this is like, out of all of those celebration cards, this is unironically the one that has like the smallest like the biggest chance of being playable. It's still a small chance, but like 5,000 untargetable, maybe, you know, it's not a brick in your main deck. So like if you're I don't know, Centurion, and you're playing it, there's like, maybe there's a matchup where you know that they just can't out it because it can't be targeted and it can't be destroyed by card effects. So like, you know, there's like a small chance I put that in my extra deck just in case, you know, I want to overlay 2 level 12 synchros in a matchup where I know they can't out it because all they have is like targeting negate, targeting removal, and it's like, okay, well, you know, summon it. The second and third effect, obviously, you're never gonna get, but like, it looks cool. That's all it really needs to do, right? That's what it's here for. It's supposed to be a cool celebration kind of card, and I think it does look dope. And yeah, that's about it. But there's like, this one has a small chance to be used. Next up, we have Ancient Fairy Dragon support. Ancient Fairy Dragon is apparently becoming an archetype. You know, so far, I think it was only Ancient Fairy Dragon and Ancient Pixie Dragon. But now they're getting more cards. And I think these are also like... I think these are also... There was already a wave of like stuff that has to do with this, even though it didn't mention Ancient Fairy Dragon, I think. But we'll see. We have Regulus the Fairy Beast. It was that weird field spell that we read, yeah. Level 4 Light Beast effect monster. This is a retrain of a very old card as well, Regulus. You can only use the first, second, and third effect of this card's name each once per turn. If this card is normal or special, you can add a spell trap that mentions Ancient Fairy Dragon from your deck to your hand. During your main phase, you can special summon a level 4 or lower Light Beast, Plant, or Fairy from your hand in defense position. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target a field spell in your grave, place it on the bottom of the card of the deck, then draw a card. Now, this card overall, this is a great card. This is a great card. It adds a card on summon. It specials a monster from your hand, and when it's in the graveyard, it recycles a field spell to draw another card. This is a pretty good Yu-Gi-Oh card. You know, this is a pretty good card. Does a lot of things in just one place. And then we have a retrain of Spore, which I didn't even know Spore was like had anything to do with Ancient Fairy Dragon. I personally did not know that, but I also haven't watched 5Ds. I'm sure to everyone who's watched 5Ds, this makes a lot of sense. Level 1 Light Plant Tuner effect monster. You can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. If this card is special summoned, you can increase its level by up to the number of monsters you control. So this is very flexible in terms of its level, right? It can be level 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. If this card is in your graveyard and you control Ancient Fairy Dragon or a Light Beast, Plant, or Fairy monster, you can special summon this card. Also, you cannot special from the extra deck for the rest of this turn except Synchro monsters. I can think of a Light Fairy monster. Who in chat right now can tell me which light fairy monster I'm thinking of? Scythe is a funny answer. Scythe is a very funny answer. No, obviously the answer was Hugin. Obviously the answer was Hugin. So what I'm seeing here is a discard for Hugin that I can just bring back from the graveyard and make it any level tuner I want if I discard it for Hugin. Now it's gonna lock me into synchros, which is a little odd, but hey, I'm just saying. Kuribon the Fairy Spirit, level 1 light fairy effect monster. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. If you control Ancient Fairy Dragon or a light beast, plant, or fairy, you can special summon this card from your hand. If you do, it's treated as a tuner. If another monster you control that is Ancient Fairy Dragon or mentions it would be destroyed by card effect, you can return this card to the hand instead. So this is not as good of a card, but like not terrible either. It's just a free extender, quote unquote, as a tuner, which is not bad. The shame is that the protection only works if it's on the field, the way I understand it. Like, it's not like from the graveyard you can return it. But it is cool. And then we have Ancient Fairy Life Dragon, level 8 light dragon synchro effect monster. Materials, a tuner and a non-tuner, so generic. You can only use the first effect once per turn. If this card is synchro summoned, you can draw a card, or if the World of Spirits is on the field, add a light beast, plant, fairy, or an Eternal Sunshine from your deck to your hand instead. Your Ancient Fairy Dragon and monsters that mention it can attack while in face-up defense position. If you do, apply their defense for damage calculation. Now, hey, I like cards that draw cards on summon. I've been using those. That's cool. Let me read World of Spirits first. Field spell card. You can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. You can only activate the second and third effect of this card's name while you control a level 7 or higher light dragon synchro. When this card resolves, you can add a monster that mentions Ancient Fairy Dragon from your deck to your hand. Each time a monster is special summoned in attack position, change it to defense position. Once per turn during the end phase, destroy all the turn player's attack position monsters. I think this is a very good field spell. I think this is a very good field spell. Not just like, okay, once again, we are talking about a card that if it has this text is already good, right? Any Yu-Gi-Oh card that just adds another card on activation is a good card. The reason why I think this is like even better is the second effect can be kind of annoying sometimes for certain decks. But even more importantly, this is a good board breaker. If you play this deck and you like, I don't know, Dark Ruler your opponent or something, and you don't have the means to get rid of all their stuff or whatever, you can just go to the end phase and all the things that they summon in attack position are just gonna die. Oh no, turn players, never mind. Oh, it's so much worse than I thought. I didn't read properly, my bad. Turn player. Okay, that's much worse. That's much worse. I got excited for nothing. Okay. Well, at the end of the day, it's still good that it adds. I just thought it was much better than it was. I thought it was much better than it was, but sure. Okay. It's still annoying sometimes, right? Because like in a grind game, if like your opponent just can't kill you, it's much harder to establish a board, right? Especially if they're playing Link monsters. It's just harder to establish a board when like this card is on the field. It just means that you have to out it as well. And if you can't do that, then you can't make a board with Link monsters, which is good. All right. So, and this also makes it so that this guy searches a monster, right? Because on summon, it adds a spell trap, but it can add a spell that searches all of the monsters. So this card becomes a one-card synchro, basically. Like, if this thing, basically very easy sequence, you go normal summon Regulus, add World of Spirits, activate World of Spirits, add the new Spore, and then you can use Regulus' second effect to special summon the Spore from your hand. Then you can make the Spore level 3, because it's level 1 and you have 2 monsters. So it becomes level 3. That's an instant Ancient Fairy Dragon. And that Ancient Fairy Dragon can pop the World of Spirits to search any field spell in your deck. And then the Regulus can also put the World of Spirits from the graveyard to the bottom to draw a card. So off of one Regulus, you get an Ancient Fairy Dragon, any field spell, a draw, and that Ancient Fairy Dragon can still summon something from your hand, right? So not bad. That's not bad. And the Spore comes back. The Spore comes back, and you can make any level 8 synchro. You could also just make Ancient Fairy Life Dragon if you wanted to draw another card. Right? Look, that's not bad. That really is not that bad. And then we have Eternal Sunshine, which is a continuous trap card. You can only use the second effect. You can only use the second effect of this card's name a number of times per turn, up to the number of cards you control that are Ancient Fairy Dragon or monsters that mention it. Monsters you control gain 500 defense for each Ancient Fairy Dragon and each monster that mentions it you control. Once per chain, you can target a face-up monster your opponent controls until the end of this turn. Its current attack and defense become halved. Also, its effects are negated. Okay, so this is like a... If you wouldn't get this for free, you wouldn't play it. I don't think. But it's not a bad card because you can search it for free with the level 8 synchro here. It searches Eternal Sunshine. It's not a bad endboard piece necessarily, right? But it is... It's good. Yeah, it can also negate in damage step because it affects attack and defense. That's a lot of imperms. I mean, it depends, right? Like, I don't know how many of these guys you're really going to end on. I think it's hard to imagine you're ending on more than 2, right? You probably end on 1 or 2 Ancient Fairy cards, and then you have 1 or 2 monster negates, which is... But it's each turn, right? These cards are not bad. These cards are not bad. They're not like broken. I've definitely seen better, but it's not an unplayable like engine. I could see this being used somewhere. That's cool. All right. So that's Ancient Fairy Dragon support in Alliance Insight.